Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I'm your host, Davion, and I'm joined by Elijah.
You.
And Lillian.
What's up?
And we're back, man. NFL Week 1 was this past week. Lots of fun and exciting games. I think we said this last season that there were so many fun games to watch, and they were all competitive, and I enjoyed all of them. And I think Elijah, me and you, this offseason, we talked a little bit about how all the games last year were competitive. And I think it didn't even miss a beat this week. I think a lot of these games, most of these games were fairly close with an exception or 2 or 3. But yeah, how y'all feel? Week 1, we're back.
I mean, pretty good. I mean, as a Lions fan, it hurt, but as a football fan, there was a lot of exciting games to watch.
I could
3 or
say,
4 bad games, but other than that, good week of football.
Yeah.
I could say the same thing. Not a good start for Packers, but what do you know? So yeah.
I mean, so before we get started, jumping into our Thursday night football game for this week, we just want to just reiterate that we really appreciate all of the newly subscribers and all the people who've been watching our content recently. It's been a big jump over the past month and a half, 2 months. So we really appreciate that from y'all. And if you ever have a comment or you have a problem with something, please always say it. We love hearing your feedback, and we love commenting on and responding to you guys that comment. But yeah, firstly, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Rams. This was a blowout, maybe surprisingly for some people. I'll actually that question in a second, but 31-10, the Bills blew out the Rams. Was this a surprise for y'all? Did this come as a shock?
A blowout definitely comes as a shock. I mean,
Yeah.
you expect a Rams defense returning Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, adding Bobby Wagner to make some stops. And while they got a couple of picks, one of them was a drop by the receiver. It was just bad all around. The offense couldn't get anything going. Cam Akers was set. McVay said at the beginning of the season he believes he has 2 starting caliber backs. Cam Akers did not look like it. Allen Robinson didn't produce. Matthew Stafford, those I think 3 or 4 interceptions.
3.
Just all around.
Right.
Except for Cooper Kupp, because Cooper Kupp had a good game.
He always has a good king. So here, you want to go, Elijah?
Because I already know you finna talk.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you go talk though.
So what happened with me? Well, in my opinion about this game, when it comes to the run game for the Rams, is that they it didn't work for them, and they completely went away from it. Like Cam Akers only got 3 touches for 0 yards. They didn't even attempt to continue it, and so that was I think that frustrated me a little bit. I think, granted, you were down. I mean, it's tied up going into halftime, and you escape your run. Stafford doesn't look the best throwing those 3 picks, so this game just looks a little froggy, game planning from the Rams. But I think they're Super Bowl champs. They might be able to bounce back. We'll see. But I want to touch on the Bills real quick. Josh Allen looked. Lillian, you touched on this. He threw 2 picks. One of them weren't his fault, but he looked surgical. He looked like he knew, he didn't miss a beat, and he looked better than he did last season. I mean, 26 for 31 passing for almost 300 yards, 3 tubs, and a pick. That's real. That's big from Josh Allen on 10 carries, 56 yards with 1 tub. That's the mark of a MVP season. And so if he can keep this up, I mean, Stephon Diggs looked really good. Davis looks really good as well. This team, the Bills, they added Von Miller, and he completely pressured Matthew Stafford the entire game, and he just added. He just made a point to what he needed to do. And so I feel like this game was one of it showed the talent that the Bills added this offseason, and it forwarded what they had last season. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and one thing I do want to add is, obviously credit to Von Miller, AJ Epinesa, Ed Oliver, but that Rams offensive line, they lose Corbett to the Panthers in free agency and Whitworth to retirement, and they fell apart.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the worst I've seen the Rams offensive line play since before last year. And so, as much as, Stafford, not a good night, you do have to look at it and say, a lot of throws are under pressure. And if his offensive line can't protect him, then the Rams have no hopes of returning to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, agree. What I would like to say about the game is pretty much same thing y'all both have said. But this game it started off as a defensive game in the beginning, first half. Both picks was thrown. Both back and forth kick returns on both sides. I think Bills started off with a touchdown first, and then second quarter Rams scored and tied it up. And I feel like you pretty much said, second half was like that ignition for the Bills and Allen to just go and just take off and show that they are that team to be worried about and to be scared of this season. So, kudos to the Bills. And like you said, with Von Miller pressuring his old teammates, that was his former team. So for him to, push and show and scare Stafford and get sacks on him just shows that the Bill defense is still scary. With the Rams, nothing too much to really say. Just the first game, just played a better team. That's all. Cooper Kupp still looking good. You can't really blame him. He still had yards and a TD for them. So, that's pretty much I can really say for them. With the defense, though, it needs to step up. And then, I know what you're going to say. So,
I'm gonna
let you say. I'm going to let you say what you got to say. But Jalen Ramsey, that's all I'm going to say, and I'm going to let you take off from there.
For years now, I've been saying Jalen Ramsey is a big question mark for years. I know people are going to say, oh, just one bad game, he got torched. No, he got torched. He's been getting torched for the past 2 seasons. So, in my opinion, I think you better watch out for Jalen Ramsey. He's becoming a liability. People put him amongst those amongst the names of those greats like Davion and Charles Woodson. He's not. They wouldn't even throw the ball to Deion Sanders' side. They wouldn't even throw it to his side. Or Devin Hester. They wouldn't even do that. But I feel like quarterbacks aren't afraid of Jalen Ramsey. So that's my rant on Ramsey real quick. But here's my question before we move on. Should the Rams be afraid? Should the Rams? Is this a problem for the Rams losing this bad for the first in week 1, or is this just week 1 jitters?
Week 1.
Yeah, I don't want to overreact and say it's over, but definitely week 1 jitters. But that offensive line needs to step up, and Jalen Ramsey needs to get back to where he was before the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Because, statistically, Jalen Ramsey played extremely well last season until the playoffs where he just started getting burned. So it's up to Jalen Ramsey and the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it's a week 1 thing. But if it continues to play out like this for the Rams, then it might be questionable and scary for them. But just a week 1 thing.
So next game, we're talking about the New Orleans Saints versus Atlanta Falcons. Saints won 27-26. As a Saints fan, I turned this game off going into halftime. I was like, I'm not in the mood to have my weekend ruined. So I turned it off completely. 2 things. Saints' run defense in that first half looked terrible. We couldn't stop anything in the first half. And then, in the second quarter, they definitely just put on, obviously. And so here's the thing. Going back and looking at this game, this is 2 things that happened with both of these teams. Saints are a fourth quarter team. It's been proven for that over the past since I've been watching them. We always put on in the fourth quarter. And Atlanta are choke artists. That's just gonna happen. That's night and day. So when New Orleans went down and won the game, I was very surprised. I mean, Atlanta. I really expected Atlanta to hold on because it was 10 to 26, 23 going into halftime. Going to the fourth quarter. And the Saints put 17 points on you in the fourth quarter. That's not a good look for Atlanta at all. But I think the Saints really need to. I don't think this is necessarily the Saints season. But I mean, just to still get a win, that's a big win for us. Week 1, I think we need to go back because it wasn't an easy win at all. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't a successful win. It was a win that we barely got, and we got lucky. And so I think the Saints really need to, put on this week and get ready for next week.
I have a question for you. Due to Michael Thomas coming back this season, anything you have to say about him, or do you think is he going to produce like how he used to, or he just did it this game and that was just it?
So we saw he was a red zone threat this game, and that's what he's been his entire career. He's been a guy you can throw the ball up to, and he'll go get it. Or if you want to put him on a slant, he'll go get it. And so, like, that's big for the Saints. That's what we need. We didn't have a number one receiver. We could have just give that to him, and he went to work. So that's big. Jarvis Landry went off, but he provided some help for Thomas. He's as a dominant number 2. So that's too big. That's two right there. That's two big helps that we didn't have last season. Taysom Hill going back into that role of Swiss Army knife player. I like that a lot. Kamara needs to have a little bit better game. 9 carries, 39 yards. He just abandoned the run. But we gotta be able to stick to our P's and Q's and get it done. I mean, Mariota didn't look terrible in the first half. He did not look bad. But they slipped for them to give up 17 points to the Saints in the fourth quarter, that's a no-go.
Yeah, so, obviously you touched on the Saints. As far as the Falcons are concerned, I mean, I think we're going to see another year of an offense revolving around Cordero Patterson.
Yeah.
22 rushes for 120 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Mariota overall had a pretty good game. Passing-wise, he doesn't seem to be as much of a threat as he was in Tennessee. But also I want to point out Drake London. Rookie receiver first year, 5 for 74. Outplayed Kyle Pitts, tight end, had 7 targets, only 2 catches for 19 yards. Obviously week 1, so I don't want to have any huge overreactions, but you do sort of wonder, is Drake London going to come in and take more targets from Pitts, and is Pitts going to be the generational tight end he's supposed to be?
I mean, Pitts was targeted 7 times. There was a couple bad balls from Mariota as well. But I think it's just I like Pitts a lot, and I do like London a lot as well. I know he came in with a little slight ankle injury. It might have been that, but he played, right? He did play. Yeah. I mean, I think with progression of time and chemistry, I think all 3 of those guys can be able to work it out. But right now, I think it's still early in the season. Granted, I don't know if Atlanta's going to be a top dog this season at all, but that's the point. But yeah. Next game, the Cleveland Browns versus Carolina Panthers. Sadly, we don't have any Carolina Panthers fans here right now because I know they'd be very upset. Cleveland Brown ended up winning 26-24 to the Carolina Panthers. What's y'all initial thoughts on this game?
So I only watched first half and like a couple minutes of third quarter, but I went to sleep because the game was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. But obviously, as soon as I went to sleep, apparently fourth quarter is when Panthers picked it up. But what I can say in the first half, what I was seeing was, so first quarter was just a back and forth defensive game. Like Jacoby wasn't getting nothing, and Baker definitely wasn't doing nothing. So get that out the way. Second quarter is when Brown started to pick it up and was starting to look good, and Jacoby was looking good as well. Mm-hmm. And Nick Chubb, the running, like Kareem Hunt, those two, like they started looking good. And Panthers was on the struggle bus, and Baker was still looking like Baker to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm trying to give him a benefit of the doubt, but to me, I know it's week 1, so I'm not gonna bash him too much, but he's still not that guy. He's inaccurate. He's very inaccurate, and like just how he just played is just like so weird to me. And like how the commentators kept saying, "Oh, he looks calm. He's calm. He's very calm." This how he wasn't like that with the Browns, and I'm like, yeah, he's calm, but he's still playing like how he played when he was with the Browns, looking terrible. And like he was just throwing the ball like he didn't care. But gave up a pick, which was just how he just threw it. Like he just gave up. Like, it was nobody there.
That's his MO though. He's gonna give you a pick a game.
Yeah. So it was just like that pick was just like, what was that? Like, who was you throwing it to? And then, they did get a touchdown by I think, was it by a pass?
Yeah, 75-yard Robbie Anderson.
Robbie. Yep, it was. It was a Robbie Anderson pass, right? So, when that happened, I'm like, okay, cool. Panthers trying to pick it back up. And then third quarter, back again, defensive game. And then Browns got the field goal, and then I just went to sleep. So pretty much that's what I remember from the game. So I don't really know what happened fourth quarter, but I heard Baker kind of stepped it up, but he didn't step it up fully, I heard.
So one of my biggest takeaways from this game is I understand McCaffrey's coming back from injury, but at halftime he had 5 touches, and I think he finished with 14. At the end of the day, obviously you don't want to put all the load on him like you have in previous seasons where he's getting 35 touches every game. But at the same time, this is one of the best offensive talents in the game when he has the ball in his hands. You need to give him the ball and let him go to work. My other takeaway is the Panthers' run defense is non-existent. Now, I understand they're going up against Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but multiple times they would meet Nick Chubb with 2 or 3 guys in the backfield just for Nick Chubb to bounce right off of all of them. There was no tackling, and that was if they got to the backfield. Most of the time, it's these wide gaping holes that Nick Chubb just hits. Yeah. So that's really one of the biggest things is the pass defense looks pretty good, but it's going to look good when you're going against Jacoby Brissett. No disrespect to Brissett. I mean, he had that pretty solid season in Indianapolis, but hasn't done much
terrible
since. So yeah, I mean, pass defense looks good, but if your run defense can't get any stops, because in reality they didn't get any stops, you have no hope. Especially if you refuse to give the ball to your best running back,
your best player, arguably.
Yeah.
As hitting on that point, Jacoby
Brissett, it's 50-50 on that. What I would like to say is, because I agree with y'all saying on, he's one of their best offensive talent, but like I feel like they should start leaning more or less on just keep focusing on him more and revolving the offense on him more. Granted, he is their offense, but you see what happens every season when they make him 80% of their offense is he always get run down and injured. So I can understand why they trying to give him less carries and less targets on offense, because, they don't want him to get injured no more or, be out for the season again. So I can understand that, but I also understand where y'all coming from because he is their offense.
So the second, go ahead.
I think it's less that they need to get him back to where he was, where he's getting all of these touches, but it also can't be where he's getting 10 or 14. They need to find that middle ground, because unless you find the middle ground, the offense won't do anything, and the defense can't stop anybody with a running back. And so all you're going to end up with is these last-second kicks that beat you, and you're going to finish 6-10, 6-11. And just another disappointing season, even if McCaffrey stays healthy.
And here's the main point about that comment is Kareem Hunt, who's their number 2, who's the Browns' number 2, he had 11 carries.
Mm-hmm.
McCaffrey, who's their starter, only had 10 carries. That's already not enough. You got to get somewhere from that 15 to 18 range a game. But that works perfectly. Even if it's only for 60 yards, it still has something. It still leaves the defense it leaves them wondering, is it going to be a pass or a run? Because if you just abandon the run, then you can send 4 or 5 and play a zone and put Baker in a box. Make him make smart reads, and they will lose this game. And they will lose every game if they put the ball in Baker's hands to control. They will lose because he cannot pick that. He can't pick a single defense apart. Granted, he made a really good throw on a quick, I think it was a 5 slant. But the receiver did most of the work, to be honest with you. But that's good. But McCaffrey can't be. He has to produce more than this. He's your number one guy on this team, whether you like it or not. He has to produce more than that. He had 4 catches for 24 yards and 10 carries for 33 yards. Not enough. Not on any planet. But the Browns, Jacoby didn't look good. Their run game still looks great, of course. As long as they can keep winning games like this, they'll set up Deshaun Watson for a good return. But who knows how he's going to look when he comes back. But next up we have the San Francisco 49ers versus the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears won this game.
Your best team, your favorite team.
Who's my favorite team?
The 49ers, you know.
Not. They were last season in the playoffs when they beat the Packers. That was great.
You love them every other season too.
Oh, I have it. Whatever. Bears won 19-10. This was a very nasty game. A lot of rain. Field was a mess. Trey Lance looked terrible. Threw under 50%. 28 attempts, 1 pick. Granted, the water's a mess. Like the field's just not. This isn't substantial. This is football weather to play in because it's fun. But quarterback play, this is not. That's not good for you. You got to run the ball in these types of weathers. They also lost Elijah Mitchell. I think season-ending injury, right? I think it's season-ending. So that's a big bummer, a big blow there. So that sucks for this offense. But this defense, they held them to the 9. Chicago scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. This defense gave up. Justin Fields, he played okay. Only 17 passes because it's raining. That makes a lot of sense. 121 yards, 2 tubs, 1 pick. It's one of those games where it's like it's not fun to watch. It's a lot of running. Not a very high scoring game. I wouldn't base anything off a season off this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially Trey Lance. This is essentially like his rookie campaign. He didn't get one last year. So this is his first year where he's probably going to be starting an entire season. So I'm not going to look at this game where the field is practically a pool and it's raining and just terrible passing conditions and say, oh, Trey Lance didn't pass the ball well. Like, no, he didn't. But, Justin Fields wasn't excellent either. So I'm not going to look at this and criticize Trey Lance off of it. I'm not going to criticize anybody in this game off of it. This was a return to ground and pound football, and that's not the type of football either of these teams are built to run. So
not successfully anyway.
No.
Yeah.
I think the Bears winning this game was more on the 49ers defense falling apart than anything.
Yeah. Elijah?
Not too much to say on that game.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those ones where it's like, I wish I had that 4 hours back or 3 hours back. It's not that fun to watch. But I'm excited to see what happens next week with both these two teams, see if that quarterback play can get a little bit better. Next up we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals lost this one 20-23. This one hurts a little bit.
It hurts.
You gotta start.
I can start. But it hurts, and for both. Well, not for both teams.
No, I would say for both teams. I would agree with that statement.
But still, for both teams. But what I would like to say, like I talked to you when this game happened for Sunday night. Yeah, it was Sunday night. I think I talked to you where I was like, not to put the blame on Joe Burrow, but he is their offense, and he's part of the Bengals team.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm going to say again, now that we're on a podcast, is that Bengals, as the overall team, need to stop. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's relying too much on the offense or defense. And the reason what I'm trying to say and trying to get at is that I noticed with Bengals on certain games is that they start off bad first half, and then like second half they come back. Like they always a comeback team.
They're definitely a second half
is always they have.
Yeah.
And they just show out. And like as I was trying to say to you and what I was saying to you about it is like they need to stop doing that. They need to just either come out hot or come out ready to play, and just then take off for that second half and just put it in the game, like end the game, like finish the whole game, put it in the bag. But they did come back second half, granted that, and went to OT. OT was just bad for both ends. Like, Bengals really could have won and had a chance, but their kicker missed that field goal that they needed to win, and still came back and got it. So, but that's me with the Bengals, is that they need to stop being that second half team and just being that team for the whole game.
Yeah. So
and then with the Steelers, I guess Steelers play good, but you can go ahead though. I don't really got too much for the Steelers.
I think here's what I'm gonna say, and Bengals fans might hate me for this. Up until the fourth quarter, Joe Burrow was abysmal. It was a terrible performance from Joe Burrow. I mean, five turnovers. That at the end, that's 5 turnovers. And only 1 touchdown into the third. And I sort of want to take a different route. The Bengals need to find something that will work when Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase doesn't work. They need to find an offense that isn't just Joe Burrow throws the ball to Jamar Chase. And they need to find an offense that isn't Joe Burrow throws the ball 53 times. Because he threw the ball 53 times and 4 of those were interceptions. That's not reliable.
See,
and I'm also going to criticize the Bengals special teams. I will say, it was like their 4th string tight end long snapping on the in the field goal. But I'm not going to put either of those misses on McPherson, because obviously the first one was blocked because of a bad snap, and then the second one was a terrible snap, and so McPherson kicked the laces. And as much as, like, whatever, you can say, oh, Justin Tucker would make it. He's not Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker is the best kicker of all time.
Yeah.
So whether or not the best kicker of all time makes it doesn't matter, because McPherson didn't.
I mean, granted, that snap was not – I mean, the snaps weren't good for McPherson. I want to make a point about that Joe Burrow comment. Granted, that offense is designed for him to throw the ball 50 times, well, 40, 50 times. Yes, it's designed like that. You have stacked receivers, you have a stacked tight end, you have a lot of things that rely on a quarterback play. That team revolves around Joe Burrow.
Yes.
But to that point, Joe Mixon still had 27 carries. He still ran the ball 27 times. And so, like, I feel like when it does come to, like, I mean, and here's another thing. They had the ball almost twice as longer than Pittsburgh had the ball. They had the ball for 43 minutes. Pittsburgh had the ball for 26 minutes. Like, that's just – it's unlucky that stat line looks like that, because, I mean, and it went to overtime as well. Like, you're not going to get 4 interceptions from Joe Burrow every single game. But here's something that people aren't talking about. People aren't talking about Mitch Trubisky, and they aren't talking about the Steelers' defense. Granted, the Steelers got 5 turnovers from Joe Burrow, right? Right? But why is the Bengals still in this game? Why are they still in this game? Because you got 5 turnovers. You have to put this game away. This game shouldn't have been this close.
Yeah.
They can blame it on Matt Nagy, what happened in Chicago, all they want.
Yeah.
It was a combination of Matt Nagy's a terrible head coach and Mitch Trubisky is not a good quarterback.
Great.
And so, like, my point is, like you can blame it on Joe Burrow. Give him the blame. It's 5 turnovers, yes. But for them to still be – for them to lose by 3 points in overtime, give some props to their defense as well. Got to give props to their defense as well.
Of course.
Because they did have the ball for 43 minutes. That's more than half the game.
And Steelers didn't even get a touchdown on second half.
Exactly. So you have to give props. I'll give props to their defense right now. That's a big showing from Cincinnati.
Of course. But on both ends as well, because Steelers always had a good little defense to them.
But so, Joe had a bad – so that –
But Joe had a bad
Joe
game.
had a bad game. He just had a bad game.
Joe had a bad game.
Plain and simple, he had a bad game.
But Steelers also played good defense as well.
Yeah.
mean,
5 turnovers, yes.
They just didn't. They just didn't.
Their offense didn't capitalize.
Reciprocate that energy on offense. Yes. Exactly.
Yes. Najee went down early, so that could be a big thing because they didn't run the ball ever at all anymore. But for them, the Steelers need to be able to open up that offense, whether that's getting your rookie quarterback in to make a difference. Do it. Plain and simple, because that's unacceptable for you to only win by 3 points and you have 5 turnovers. I mean, and you get 5 turnovers.
Yeah, I just want to give credit to Micah Fitzpatrick a little bit. Block, pick six, and 14 tackles.
Yeah.
And a pass deflection. I mean, that's just beautiful defense. I know Alex Highsmith had a good game, but also we need to talk about the Bengals' offensive line. I mean, it was supposedly new and improved.
Yeah.
They got all these pieces, and then Joe Burrow gets sacked 7 times. Now, I understand it's overtime. They had the ball a lot, but that's still 7 sacks.
Exactly. So, like,
that's not something Joe Burrow can take anymore. I mean, there's a reason he got hurt his rookie year and then had to deal with all the sacks last year all the way up into the Super Bowl. So he's playing 3 extra games, and he can't take another season of all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you pointed that out because I forgot that he still had got sacked 7 times, and this O-line was supposed to be approved this offseason. So, for him to still get sacked is saying something. And like you said, Joe cannot continue to get sacked. He just can't. It's not going to help the team out in the long run. So
exactly.
I agree with what you said. Yeah.
And so, moving on to the next game, the Eagles versus the Lions. Lions lost 35-38 to the Eagles. Lillian, I'll let you – well, I want to say one thing about the Eagles, and then I'll let you have at it. I think this offense from the Eagles, is new and improved. Miles Sanders last year, he was a laughing stock, but he looked really, really good. I mean, 13 carries, 96 yards a tub. Like that's 7 yards a carry. That I like that. Go ahead.
Granted, all their touchdowns came from running.
Yeah.
They didn't score no, passing touchdowns. So, their run game looked good. I have a question with you.
Hold on, wait. I'm going to say this one more thing, and then I'll let you hear that question.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to make me angry right now. A.J. Brown looked good as well. I mean, 10 receptions, 155 yards. That's big for him. Jalen Hurts, I mean, he's trying to really put on a show. But your question, go ahead.
You almost kind of answered the question. I was about to talk about Jalen Hurts because last year,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know how you wasn't kind of bashing Jalen Hurts, but you was kind of downplaying him. And now this is the season for him to show that he's that quarterback for the Eagles. Now my question is, for your opinion on this game, do you think he's not that quarterback for the Eagles, or you still got to give him time because this is just his first week? Do you think do you think you see the improvement getting there, or it's just no improvement?
So I definitely need time. I 100% need more time. This is better than what he was last season. I mean, he's throwing just above 50%. It's better. I can't say he's a lock until they win the NFC East. They have to win it. Plain and simple.
I mean, now there's no excuses for them not to win it.
Yeah, because Dak is out. Dak's out.
Exactly.
We'll get to that in a second. But I think right now Jalen Hurts. I'm not saying it's a lock. He needs more time.
So give me the time. I'm gonna give you about week 10. We're gonna talk about.
Give me week 10, and we'll talk about it.
I ask you this question.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So go ahead,
Lily. First half, the defense was not good. Defense looked terrible in the first half, especially the secondary, because as you said, A.J. Brown had 100-something receiving yards after the first half. Second half, the secondary looked much improved. The front seven still looked terrible. I mean, they just got ran all over. I will say Aiden Hutchinson didn't fill up the stat sheet, but if you watch the game, you know that he would have had multiple sacks if it wasn't Jalen Hurts back there. Because there's no defensive end in the world you can ask to get back there and just solo tackle Jalen Hurts. So I'll give props to Aiden Hutchinson. Jeff Okudah had a pretty good game. But the run defense looked abysmal. And that comes back to the lack of linebacker room in Detroit. Offensively, I mean, DeAndre Swift, top 10 running back in the league. Passing-wise, Jared Goff, if he doesn't throw that pick six, I think the game looks very different. Other than that, I think, especially in the fourth quarter, Jared Goff looked much better as a passer. Drove them down the field to get them within 3. Defense couldn't get the stop at the end of the day to get the ball back. But DeAndre Swift looked great. Jamal Williams got a couple rushing touchdowns. But passing-wise, it's just Jared Goff kills me, man.
Okay. I was going to ask you a question about Jared Goff.
Well, what's your question?
Do you like him as the Lion quarterback, or y'all think y'all need to get another quarterback to really make the Lions to be that team?
Jared Goff, I will give him the rest of the season. I'm not somebody that's just going to quit on a quarterback immediately because I think last year he showed a lot of signs that he could lead the team, and he's a great leader in the locker room. But if he's going to continue to be the guy that only throws 2 touchdowns and a pick six, I think that the Lions would go out and draft another quarterback. But at the same time, I think that if it's similar to last season, he could continue to improve and get a few wins down the road. But if I were to go based off of week 1 right now, I would say try and get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or whoever.
Stroud would be your best option.
Hey,
welcome Oronde to the podcast. So looking at Jared Goff's contract right now, he's making $10 million this year, and then $20 million the season after, and then $20 million the season after that. But I think it says he can potentially get bought out this season for only a $10 million cap hit, if I'm reading that correctly. But anyway, Lillian, I completely agree. Jared Goff, I think he's a great leader, but there's no help. There's no on the field accolade. He's just not the guy. He's just not that guy.
That's Freddie's favorite quarterback. What you talking about?
I mean, if you were to take the Lions team they had right now and throw Matthew Stafford back on it, they'd win the NFC North easily.
Yeah, or just give them.
I agree.
Because I mean, Matthew Stafford is whatever he did Monday night. How bad that game was. You look overall, he's a good quarterback and doesn't get pressured as much with the Lions' offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, he only got sacked once, and it's not like he's a super mobile guy.
Exactly.
So, yeah, Stafford wouldn't have Cooper Kupp, but he'd have Amara, T.J. Hawkinson. He'd have weapons, and he'd also have a running game. Cam Akers, if you're watching, I had you on my fantasy team.
It ain't for it.
He got 0 points.
He had 3 carries, 0 yards. But here's the thing. So closing up with this, I think the Eagles look really good. I think the Lions also look really good, and they show that they have fight. I think both of these teams have potential to win their divisions this season. Eagles, I really think they're going to win their division now. I really hope they do anyway. Lions are going to have a tougher time, especially with the Vikings looking as good as they did this past week. But yeah, next up we got the Colts and the Texans.
The first tie.
These two teams. So, firstly, why is Matt Ryan throwing the ball 50 times?
Right, but even though he threw the ball 50 times, Jonathan Taylor still had 31 carries. So I don't know what it is, honestly.
Yeah,
and Jonathan Taylor still had a game.
What'd you say?
He still had a game too, but it is high. It's still too high, but I don't know.
It just seems like they couldn't put together a solid drive that doesn't take 12 and 11 plays.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, during preseason, I did say the Texans defense looked pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they
held.
Really Go ahead.
The Texans really impressed me. I liked how Davis Mills looked. He was.
Boy.
I think Davis Mills arguably was the best rookie quarterback last year. It's not like it was a great rookie class, but I mean, Davis Mills statistically was definitely one of the best.
I think he's like top 15.
I also second
Who
that
was his
statement.
class?
Third this.
He was better than Trevor Lawrence.
He's
So
best with
yeah,
Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach
Yeah.
Wilson, Trey Lance. Like,
yeah, he was better than all of them.
yeah.
The only person who wasn't better was Mac Jones, but it wasn't a close margin.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
Matt Jones had a good season. Yeah, yeah.
He spread the ball out. Brandon Cooks had 7 catches for 82. OJ Howard had a couple touchdowns. Chris Moore, Nico Collins, Pharaoh Brown. I mean, he really got the ball to a lot of different guys. And they had split carries between Burkhead and Davion Pierce. But, yeah, like you said, Matt Ryan throwing the ball 50 times. He's, what, like 37 or something? Nowhere near his prime. There's no reason. It is weird.
He shouldn't.
Taylor had 31 carries, but there's still no reason for Matt Ryan to be throwing the ball 50 times.
I don't even know why or how he was still throwing the ball.
Short
That
gonna
much.
be hurting today. I know
Also, the
Dang.
AFC South is now the only winless division at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
we
mean, that's
expected that though.
impressive, really.
Mm-hmm.
We expected the
Um,
division to be winless.
I do want to
But
go back and top on Son with the Mac Jones situation again. Granted,
What
if
did I
Davis
miss?
Mills had a team like the Patriots,
wait. That's next game. That's the next game.
yeah, but granted, no, what Oronde was saying that Mac Jones was the better QB,
Mhm.
rookie QB. But granted, if Davis Mills was on the Patriots, I guarantee you he would still be the
I don't think
to
it
me.
would have made too much of a difference
I don't think
because
either.
of the line. The line last year was not good, and Davis had more playmakers in Texas.
Yeah.
Listen.
Davis put up points. They just could not
When
keep away so many points from defenses.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but with that game though, what I gotta say about the Colts and Texans, yeah, I don't know about that game to be honest.
Yeah, so I think I like
a little bit of credit to Kwity Paye. 2 sacks on the game. Second year player, I think he's due to have a breakout season.
I mean, I said it last season. I liked Davis Mills last season, and I think he can definitely, make a scene in this division for sure. And I think he will. I mean, it shows. But look, hold on. But look, Indiana. They went 3 quarters pretty much without scoring. I mean, they scored 3 points in the first quarter, and then 0 in the second, and then 0 in the third quarter. So that's not good at all for both of these teams. You can't have 2 scoreless quarters. You have to fill that out. And so I think this game is pretty much done and dusted, and just it has to be better offense from these 2 teams. Elijah, go
I
ahead.
think the number one thing is you need better defense from the Texans because it was 20-3.
You let them score
Yeah.
17 points in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter.
And then all of a sudden you're in overtime. And I also question the decision to just essentially surrender to a tie. I mean, just go for it on 4th down. Like, you've got nothing to lose except it's tie or win in that situation. Unless, with how Davis Mills was playing, it was tie or win.
Yeah.
Hear me out. I don't know if you would do this because you don't clip at all, Davion. But I'm going to say it anyway, so the podcast can hear me loud and clear. I would like to say I apologize on trashing Davis Mills last season.
Find that clip.
Because I did trash him, and he's actually not that bad of a quarterback, and he's actually pretty much making Texans be a solid team without Watson. So credit to him and kudos to him. So take back what I said. He's a nice quarterback.
Maybe I'll find that clip. Maybe if I get bored, I'll find it. Because you did. You killed him that week. But next up, we have the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Oronde, this is your
Miami
team.
Heat and Miami Heat. Woo! What's going on?
As expected, we don't win in Miami. But this was more of a game of us beating up ourselves. And there was a lot of missed calls, i.e. the first interception that Mac threw was a corner pass to Devontae Parker. bro just straight up tugged the jersey and there was no flag. I don't know what to do about that.
Well, welcome
I
to
can't do much
getting
about-
shafted by referees.
Yeah,
I'm a Saints fan.
Panthers fans, I relate. Anyways,
I'm a Saints fan.
Saints got shagged too.
No,
Saints
in
always
life.
get- Yeah.
I was just talking about games that happened in week 1, but it was a decent showing, at least from the first, second, and third drives. The offense looked put together. Defense was there, but tackling was an issue. It was overall solid performance. Just couldn't put any points on the board after losing momentum. Ty Montgomery is on IR with a knee injury now. Mac Jones just had some back spasms, thank goodness.
Okay.
But I guess I can say that Miami is there. They still have their own issues because they should have put up a 40-piece straight up. They could have put up a 40-piece, but they also still suck. So I don't really know.
So did you watch this game?
I watched the entire game.
Okay, so how did Tua look?
Tua looked poised, a little better than last year. Still throwing the occasional duck though. I don't know if y'all saw the one play circulating.
Oh yeah,
Bro was wide open.
Mhm.
Could not get the ball there for somewhat reason, but Tyreek was Tyreek. Nothing changed there, just different QB. But I give Tua a 7 out of 10. He did pretty well.
better than a 5 out of 10 from last season.
Uh,
I mean, so watching a little bit clips and stuff in this game. I don't know. I think they definitely spread the ball around on offense with the receivers, with Waddle, getting his touchdown and a little dance. And I don't know. I think the running backs really need. They don't have a running game established.
They don't know because Mostert didn't even have 50 yards. I don't think.
He only had 5
And-
carries
Yeah, he
with 16 yards.
And one of those was 11 yards.
couldn't do much. Edmonds really he had the occasional flash, but that was really it.
Yeah.
Even then, at least on the Patriots side, Mac Jones spread it to 6 different receivers within like their first 5-6 minutes. So everybody's catching it. Everybody's doing their job. Just could not get it done. The run game looked solid though for the Patriots, just not for Miami.
Yeah.
They haven't figured it out yet.
And do you think they will?
They have the opportunity to. If they can figure out their run blocking a little bit better, because Patriots' run defense is good. The pass defense is what we can't seem to figure out. Once it gets over to like 1.5, 2 seconds, then people start getting open downfield. They're playing too much soft zone in 2-3.
Gotcha. I mean, it's funny to me that like I was going somewhere with this. It's funny to me how like this Bill Belichick's no. My point was it wasn't even about Belichick. It was about Miami. About their run game. I think their run game can like with their head coach because he was the head coach. Well, he was the offense coordinator at the 49ers, and they had a decent running game established. So, and I feel like he could literally transform that into Miami, and it could work. But it's just a matter of if he gets that to work. But yeah. Next time we're talking about go ahead.
And first round pick Cole Strange, 49 of 56 snaps and no pressures allowed. So he is doing amazing.
Isn't that the guy everybody was like, who is this clown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick knows what he's doing, I guess, right?
Surprisingly.
Something like yeah. I mean, he's never been terrible in the draft.
He just can't draft receivers.
Yeah, well, yeah. Or he just don't draft receivers. That's the thing. I mean, it's just poor when they do draft the receiver. But the next game, the Ravens versus the Jets. Ravens won 24-9. So before we even talk about it,
can we not? No, I have to say something.
This is the opening question.
Can we not? I know we always talk about it.
What?
Are you finna talk about Lamar contract?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm about to say, well, kind of.
Oh Lord.
Does this game?
We've been talking about this a lot.
Well, does this game prove that he needs that contract now, and they need to give him his money?
If they don't pay him, he still gets around $115 million over the next 3 years. It's a matter of him getting his guaranteed money.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely all about guaranteed money. I knew, yeah, we knew that.
I
Because
don't
the
know why
contract,
they decided to spread it out so far without giving him money on the back end.
yeah.
That's
So
the
the
that's the
contract,
concerning part.
I think the contract I saw was 250 for 160-ish guaranteed. That
Two
those are
260, 113 guaranteed for 6 years.
okay. Yeah, that was the number. Now, and it
I
was
thought I saw someone with 290.
Not 290. It was
That's a lot.
260.
But like, I mean, so Lamar, he looked to get it done a little bit more than 15%. 50% passing, 113 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Joe Flacco, he threw the ball 60 times. Like, what is that? Like, do they not have a running game at all?
Flacco threw it more than Geno Smith, and let that sink in.
Bro, what is that?
The Jets have the running game.
But that's ridiculous.
Michael Carter is real.
Michael Carter is him. Brees Hall, we don't know yet because he's still a rookie, but Brees Hall could be really good too.
Brees Hall has the upside, but
there's no reason they should combine for 16 rushes when Joe Flacco's old ass is throwing 59 times.
That's so bad.
and if you think about it though, if they use Brees Hall and Carter, kind of like a Chubb and Hunt, I mean less size, but a dual running back usage, it'd be great because you can spread the workload, and they're both pretty capable. But Michael Carter is him.
But they threw away the run game. They just said, "Oh, this doesn't exist." That does not work in the league unless you have a high cal. Well, no, not even that. Like we see time after time, these teams try to throw away their running game, and they lose because like you can just sit in the zone all day if you know they're going to pass the ball. What's the point? What's the point? And so, and Joe Flacco's not getting it done like he did 10 years ago, and he didn't get it done 10 years ago. And so, I mean, Lamar, he did his job. He looked good. He looked like he deserved all the money he wants. And they got it done. It just wasn't much to cry about. This game was it's over in the third quarter. Pretty much.
I feel like you have to have like not even a powerhouse. Well, yeah, a good receiving core and just a better quarterback to really pass that ball that much, because
Flacco said himself they didn't really get into a rhythm. They just kept stumbling.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And also, rookie Brees Hall fumbled, I think, at a 3rd and 7, and Marlon Humphrey recovered it. So it was just they just couldn't be consistent with the ball. Also, Kenyon Drake's not that good.
Yeah.
They just have to get it done better because the Jets showing this week is just not good. The Ravens are the Ravens, and I think we knew they were going to be a decent team this year, and that's where they are now.
You know what's funny? Flacco is only so behind Jackson in completion percentage, but the rating is a 20-point difference.
Because of all those, just because of the bad.
My thing though is most teams when their starting quarterback gets hurt and they have to bring in the backup. I don't care who the backup is. You can be the 49ers and your backup's Jimmy G. Most teams will then move to the run game more as a way to gain rhythm and get your offense going.
I'm just looking at the numbers now.
What's happening in the Jets offensive coordinator's head where he sees Michael Carter and Brees Hall standing there and decides that Joe Flacco, who's 38, is going to throw the ball 59 times.
Here's the thing, though. On paper, Baltimore had 21 carries for 63 yards total, average of 3 yards. The Jets had 17 carries for 83 yards and an average of 4.9 carries. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It just has to be better, and until it is better, the Jets.
I don't think either of them established a good running game.
Oh, I agree. Both of these teams, they relied on their quarterbacks to throw the ball at least. Because how many Lamar threw the ball? How many times
30.
Lamar threw the ball? 30.
He was 17 of 30, 213 yards, 3
so
tutties.
Yeah, exactly. So they relied these quarterbacks to throw the ball this many times when it's not going to work. It's just not.
That is also the thing, though. Depending on the team, sometimes you don't need to.
Flacco did spread the ball out well, though.
If you're the Ravens playing the Jets and your quarterback's Lamar Jackson and he's going to throw 3 touchdowns, you let Lamar throw the ball.
And
you don't let Joe Flacco throw the ball.
And when it was draft time, when I told you Garrett Wilson was going to have a nice day to get started, he went 4 for 50, 4 receptions, 52 yards with a long of 19 for the Jets. Ohio State's just a bunch of track stars that can catch.
Literally.
Yeah. The thing is too, like if you're gonna throw the ball as much as you do, you need to get the ball to Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson more. Like
Wilson was second on yards, and Moore was third with 49.
exactly.
He had 7 targets. Wilson had 8 targets. Corey Davis had 9 targets. Michael Carter had 9 targets. Brees Hall had 10. Braxton Berrios, the special teams ace, had 6 targets. He went 5 of 37. Like Flacco spread out the ball well, obviously, for at least 7 of their receivers had 5 targets.
And that's definitely the thing, though, is like when your receiving room isn't nearly as talented, and that's not me taking anything away from Tyler Conklin or Braxton Berrios. I like Braxton Berrios. He's really good on special teams. When your receiving room, though, does have Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, and Elijah, they need to get more receptions than everybody else. More targets, at least.
Wilson just has to catch the ball more because he went 4 of 8 targets.
Well, that's true. But, like, Tyler Conklin should not be getting 7 targets, especially if he's going to end up with 14 yards on 4 catches. It's just, I think spreading the ball is good depending on the team, and the Jets isn't a team where you can spread the ball. There's not enough talent on the Jets to spread.
Okay, I think there is talent there. They just have to get talent the ball, and until that happens, then they won't change.
Here's what I'm gonna say: the talent is the running backs. Hand the ball off, and it works. It works, and they just refuse to do it.
Yeah. So moving on, Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Washington Commanders. The Commanders came back on this one and won it at the end. How did y'all take this game?
Wentz was dealing,
Yeah.
and so was Lawrence, just the one person. That's as straight up as it is.
I mean, so does Carson Wentz being with the Washington Commanders now? I mean, did he look a little different? Did he look better than he did last season?
He looked the
more
same like he was at Colts.
competent. He looked a little bit more competent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he looked the same.
I mean, he didn't make a super stupid mistake like he did with the Colts, but there's plenty of time for that to happen.
When was the last time Carson Wentz threw for 300 yards?
Probably last season would be my guess.
Last season, right?
Early
I mean,
last season, maybe.
it definitely happened
sometime last season.
Because he had running back, whatever his name is, I can't remember.
Jonathan
Getting
Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor getting like 75-yard receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, he was mostly running the ball, so that's why he didn't really pass that much with the Colts.
Last time he got that many yards was actually don't have it. It's not on here. Great. Anyway, so does
I found it.
what week was it?
Yeah, 400.
Week 12 was the last time, and then previous to that, it was week 5. Everything else is under 250.
Yeah.
Even if it reaches 100, even if it barely reaches 100.
Yeah, 270 against the Jets.
That's the Jets. Matt Jones had 350 against the Jets. What difference?
It was also threw like 3 passes in a game. So no, the way I took this game was Trevor Lawrence looked better than he did last year, but I still don't think he's the best quarterback in his class. That title is reserved for Davis Mills until further notice. James Robinson coming back from an ACL injury looks pretty solid. Averaged like 6 yards a carry, had a touchdown. I expected more out of Travis Etienne. 4 for 47. So, I mean, productive. Just I hope he gets more touches throughout the season. Christian Kirk, I guess they paid him for a reason. And the running game for the Commanders looked atrocious. So no wonder Carson Wentz threw the ball so many damn times.
So was it me or was the theme of this week for a lot of teams were just the running game looks terrible because like
Aside from the Browns and Seattle.
And I would say John
It was
a
a-
little bit.
I
John,
was about to say what's another team that had
DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift ran the ball really well.
yeah. What'd you say?
Coach ran the ball too, yeah. And Giants. Saquon Barkley had a
Saquon,
wonderful
yeah.
game. Before we talk about that, yeah.
And so I just feel like they have like these teams need to find out and establish a good run before they can start throwing the ball like this. You can't throw the ball this many times when the run game don't work. But big up Commanders, they definitely. I mean, I had them losing to Jacksonville, and they proved me wrong. But
And I mean, here's how I see it. Right, is in order to add an extra game, they got rid of that fourth preseason game.
yeah,
And when you really think about it, that fourth preseason game, the teams had already figured out, okay, this is who's going to play. So that fourth preseason game was the real game to get your starters in and get them ready to go for week one.
Yeah.
You take that game away, and now all of a sudden you've got starters who played like 3 or 4 total drives in the preseason, and now they have to play the entire game, and they just look silly out there. I think that's a lot of why we saw quarterbacks throwing 50 times and throwing like a pick and 1 touchdown. We saw Joe Burrow with 5 turnovers because he barely played in the preseason.
yeah,
Players don't touch the field. You can't expect them to actually be ready week one.
I would agree. Little rust on them still. But moving on to the Elijah alluded to the Giants versus the Tennessee Titans. Giants won in a 5-second. A last minute kick, right? 21-20. Elijah, you being from New York, you want to talk about this team real quick?
Yeah and no, to be honest, because I didn't really watch the game like that. I just know that the Tennessee Titans was winning, and Saquon had a wonderful run game, and that's pretty much it. But you did say that the Titans was going to win by like 14, so I want you to explain yourself and talk.
So I was expecting the Titans from last season to come back, and the Derrick Henry from last season. Granted, he did run the ball 21 times, but we only got 80.
Eric Henry got hit with the user boomstick.
He definitely did.
But Mr. Irrelevant himself, Tay Crowder.
And so here's the thing. Like, is this a big – excuse me. Should the Titans be afraid of this game? Like, should this put fear in their hearts?
I mean, Ryan Tannehill outplayed Derrick Henry. I think that's cause for a little concern. Saquon Barkley, coming back from a lot of injuries, outplayed Derrick Henry. But at the same time, Derrick Henry week 1 of last year against the Cardinals looked goofy, and then came back the next week and ran for like over 100.
Yeah, good point.
So, I mean, it's definitely cause for a little bit of concern, but let week 2 play out, and then you can really evaluate things.
And, like, here's the thing. Like, it's so hard to talk about these teams week 1 because, like, we all know, like, let's be real, the first 2 weeks are, like, us trying to figure out what they're doing. They're trying to figure out a game plan that works for them. And so, like this week is going to be hard to really critique and talk about these teams. But, I mean, like I've said, I said, like, the season after a player comes back from injury, that's the season I expect them to be a little bit better, like or back to what they used to be. And Saquon showed that tonight or the other night. When it comes to Derrick Henry, though, and when it comes to this Ryan Tannehill and this Tennessee team, period, they're so inconsistent for me. Like they don't some games they're gonna blow you out, and Derrick Henry's gonna have 150 rushing yards, and Tannehill's gonna have 250 passing yards with 2 touchdowns. Like that, some weeks that's gonna happen, but then some weeks something like this happens when it's like Derrick Henry's still running the ball 21 times, but it's only 82 yards. Tannehill has a decent game, but there's just nothing comes of it, and so until that happens, like until they find their footing, it won't work. So here's a question I got for the Giants: are the Giants like? Does this put you online to think the Giants can compete in the NFL this season?
They have a chance to make it into the wild card now that because I was going to talk about the Cowboys again and said that due to like Cowboys losing Dak or whatever, that put a big effect on that whole NFC East because at first everybody was like, of course, Dallas number 1 and then Eagles second probably, and then so forth. But now that Dak lost one of their quarterbacks, their best quarterback, it's kind of iffy with the NFC East. You never know. I would like to see Giants to win just because, like you said, from New York, but I think the Eagles got that NFC division. And hopefully I would like to see Giants make it to second or make it to the wild card at least. But, we'll see.
Yeah, I think the NFC East is interesting because now that Dak's out and gone for at least 6 games.
Some
I
are saying
think
4.
that immediately
They
puts the
think he'll be back in 4, or he
if
was
they
not placed on
rush him
injured
back in
reserve.
4 games, they can have fun watching him throw 3 picks
Oh.
and lose anyways.
I mean, granted, he didn't look good before he went out.
Exactly.
We'll talk about that in a
Bad
couple games,
already.
but
They
he
can
didn't look
break
good.
his throwing hand and you want to rush that back? Fine. But I think the Cowboys are going to lose the division, and I think it's up to the Eagles or the Giants. I don't think the Commanders are bad, but I think it's probably the Eagles, but the Giants have a shot, especially if they can go out and beat what's theoretically one of the AFC's best.
So I
Yes.
think, hold on. Whoa. I think the Commanders are better than the Giants.
I think I just watched the
agree.
Commanders struggle with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you saying that to be biased?
No, I'm not. I'm being completely honest. Like,
I don't
no
think the
bias.
Commanders better than the Giants.
I do.
The
I just
Giants are
think,
better than the Commanders, and it's
Yes.
not that close.
But let me tell you why I think that. Okay, so here's 2 points of this. One, I'm gonna back myself up before I say my argument. I think I've liked Daniel Jones a lot, just because I just like the story of Daniel Jones. But I feel like Wentz is better than Jones, and he can lead his team better than Daniel Jones can. That's why I say the Commanders are better.
I think Wentz has a slight edge as far as actual play is concerned over Daniel
Slight
Jones.
edge?
A slight edge because I think Carson Wentz is going to go back to where he was, where he makes stupid mistakes and costs his team the game.
Yes.
I will also say Saquon Barkley is miles better than any running back in the Washington Commanders running back room.
Exactly. Yep.
I
He
totally
is.
agree with that. But I feel like Daniel Jones is arguably the bottom 5 worst quarterbacks in the league right now.
Nah, because Brian Dable yelled at that man, and then he came out 2 drives later and threw an absolute dime behind the defense.
Okay, listen, it is week 1. It 100% is week 1.
Mhm.
If he puts on a clinic for the next couple of games, we'll come back here in 3 weeks to talk about this comment that I just made. But I feel like he might be bottom 5.
I hope Danny Dimes goes on another Vanilla Vic run,
I hope he
and
does
we
too.
we get to pin your comments
No,
on the internet.
but here's
Yes.
the thing.
Get the clips. Get the clips. You know I'm gonna get them. So
I-
go ahead and finish what you got to say. Because if Daniel Jones do good or the Giants make it to the wild card or whatever, I'm gonna go back and get this clip.
But I
So-
prefaced it by saying I like Daniel Jones and I think he can.
But
I
you
think
also think Commanders is better than Giants.
I do. Get this clip right here. At the end of the season, the Commanders will be better than the Giants. Mark my words. But granted, Saquon Barkley is there too, so I don't know. That's the only sticky situation I'm talking about is Saquon. Saquon's the big question mark. If he can do that, what he did last game for the rest of the season, then I'll eat my words I just said. But until that happens, the Commanders are better. Moving on, Chiefs and the Cardinals. Chiefs blew out the Cardinals. Just
Ooh!
put on a clinic. Oronde,
Oronde.
What up?
Shootout.
did you
It's
see
the
the clip?
shootout guy. Got to get the clip.
Do you remember what
Go
you
on.
said last week?
I do remember what I said.
And what was that? Can you repeat that for the fans that didn't listen last week?
Chiefs win, but Cardinals keep it close in a shootout.
This wasn't even close.
Nowhere.
This wasn't even close. It was a blowout.
Ooh, he's lucky he's not zooming out.
So here's
So
the
I
thing.
would just like to say, obviously I was let down, but
Yeah, let down
This-
a lot.
this is my known style here is to go for the underdog or the most improbable shit and be like, yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
Give me that right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stick by it,
Mm,
even though he scored points in garbage time.
mm.
Mahomes carried my fantasy teams.
Mahomes-
That's all I gotta say.
Whatever. Okay, Mahomes looked.
Oronde, you lost in both of the fantasies that we have.
He
Just-
looked like
No, I only lost in one because everybody else didn't score a single point, and I was not looking at my inactives list.
Mahomes looks great. 30 for 39, 365 touchdowns. He looked the best he's looked. And I would arguably say in in half of a season in six. Like and he just looked. I'm not upset about this stat line at all, and no one will be upset about it. He looked clinical. He looked surgical. He looked like
He
wanted to play.
reestablished that Kelsey is his go-to man, and if
Yeah.
he's in a pickle, he's going to go to him, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it.
Exactly. And you know what it looks like? It looks like Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews up in Baltimore.
Hey,
He
Also,
Mahomes also showed that they don't need Tyreek Hill just to be that still strong powerhouse offensive team.
you just need to give him somebody to throw to, and he'll throw it to him.
Exactly.
Juju looked
Mahomes
good
still
too.
that quarterback at the end of the day.
I mean, Juju looked good as well.
yeah.
didn't he have a fumble?
Yeah, he had a fumble. He had a fumble. He had
I-
two, I think.
You know what's crazy though?
Only lost one, but
Shame.
I forgot that they're missing most of the Cardinals are missing most of their playmakers, but I still went with my decision anyways.
Yeah, you were tripping for real.
You said shootout.
I was not tripping.
Look at that score.
I was not tripping.
You were
Look at
tripping.
that score.
But
That's not a shootout.
so here's
at
the
all.
thing. Here's the thing. I love the Chiefs right now. I'm definitely getting them behind it. That stat line from Patrick Mahomes is why I love the quarterback position. Hands down. Like that right there. He looked like he had a great game. Plain and simple. And there's not much to say about him. It's like if he could do it. Okay, here's the question. Do you think he can keep that up?
Yes.
I mean, he has most of these seasons. He's still been a pretty good quarterback. So yeah.
Anyways, I just found out I'm going to the Panthers Cardinals game.
When's that game?
October 3rd.
I'm going to the Saints Panthers game, and I think it's the 25th. I ain't about to take it.
You need a friend to go with because
I do need a friend to go.
the other person.
We'll ignore that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But listen, Cardinals. So right now the Cardinals they're in some turmoil. Like I don't know what
Defense is still terrible, like I said.
Mm.
I said
They
it's
are
shootout with that
missing
same defense.
Watt, Chandler Jones, the two very important pieces and captains to their defense.
I think Chandler. I love JJ Watt. He's not in his prime anymore. I think Chandler Jones.
That don't matter. He's going to generate pass
Um,
blocks.
You're right.
I think the biggest thing is I don't necessarily know if it's the Cardinals' defense is terrible as much as the Chiefs' offense is really, really good.
That's like them
Pat-
diving up
Patrick
the
Mahomes
2019
looked
Patriots.
I mean, Mahomes looked calm and collected every single snap of that game, and he made the throws when he needed to make the throws. And I don't think the addition of Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt makes a difference in the outcome, because I think Kyler Murray looks bad.
Yeah.
He threw for 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. No, he didn't turn the ball over, but lack of turnovers doesn't mean he played good. He looked bad.
Is Kyler a problem?
He
I
will
would say,
be.
I would just say that he still need time to be a good.
It is still week 1. He
Yeah.
still has to get the first week jitters out. Like we saw our typical garbage Aaron Rodgers game.
Mm-hmm.
It's week 1.
Yeah.
Obviously Patrick Mahomes does really well first game of the season. Like that's just how he does. But people were trying to spit roast Kyler Murray on Twitter, and then were wrong. I just think he'll by week 3 he'll be back to midseason form.
I would just say that because Kyler's not. I'm not gonna say he's a bad quarterback. I'm not gonna trash him because he's not. But if he wants to lead the Cardinals to a bowl or want to be that top 5 or best quarterback, he's gonna have to start beating teams like these to show that he's worthy of that. So far he hasn't. So he's been pretty much letting the Cardinals down every time when it comes to big teams like this. So
I'll
that's
match
all.
that energy for sure.
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, like Oronde said, give him some time. Like I'm reserving my thoughts and emotions because it's week 1, and I don't want to get clipped because Elijah's definitely out here clipping people these days. But yeah, next up we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll start. course, I'll
I
start.
have no comments. I didn't watch the game. All I just saw was Devontae Adams absolutely destroy a cornerback on a route.
Murdering people.
Other than that, I have no further comments for this game. I didn't watch it or see any highlights.
Man, I miss Adams.
Also in one extremely nice bullet throw from Herbert for a tutty. Other than that, I know Keelan I was going to miss the next game. He should be back in another week.
So I would say this game is interesting to me. On the one hand, you have a really solid defense and offensive performance from the Chargers, and on the other hand, I think they ended it with 2 field goals. Yeah, and on the other hand, you have a display of our offseason, getting all these big name guys in like Khalil Mack, who had a great game. Justin Herbert, he's already been there, but he just showed why he's in the argument for top 10, arguably top 5 in the league. So Justin Herbert finished with 23 for 24. For 34, 279, 3 touchdowns. Great quarterback numbers yet again. The Raiders, on the other hand, Derek Carr, 22 for 37, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So this game, do we think – yes, hold on. And Devontae Adams, 10 receptions, 141 yards, 1 touchdown. Darren Waller's right behind him, 4 receptions, 79 yards. Just big numbers from both of these two. I think this offenses in this game played well. Derek Carr, 3 picks. That's not okay. Got to clean that up. What's y'all's take on this game?
My take is that week 1, I think Derek Carr was a little too trigger happy to get the ball to Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Because Devontae Adams, yes, 10 catches, 141, 1 touchdown. Devontae Adams had an amazing day. He looked great. He also had 17 targets.
17 targets.
Which I know most of those weren't on Devontae Adams. They were mostly bad passes. They just completely ignored Hunter Renfrow at that point.
Yeah.
And he's second best slot receiver in the league behind Cooper Kupp. You can't just ignore him like that. Like, you need to get the ball to – when you have Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow on the team, it can't just be the Devontae Adams show. This isn't Green Bay anymore. He's not the only guy.
And that's what he tried to do. He tried to do what we did.
I understand Derek Carr already played with him at Fresno State, has that chemistry, but you also have chemistry with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. You can't give up on them just because you have your best buddy now. This isn't Green Bay. He's not the only option. And I think it hurt the team.
It definitely didn't. For Hunter Renfrow to only have 3 receptions for 21 yards, that's pathetic. It has to be a little higher than that. 6 to 10, I'm okay with that. 6 targets, though, like, it has to be more. Hunter Renfrow is a lesser Cooper Kupp. They have the same play style. There's a place for that on any team in the NFL. And for him to only get targeted 6 times and with 3 receptions, that's not enough. It has to be more than that. And you make very, very valid points when you say that Derek Carr, caused them the game because of that. It's week 1. They come out there excited. They're like, okay, let's do it. Best friends back together.
Yep.
But you 22 for 20 for 37. They got to clean it up.
Did y'all know the Niners signed Texans Marlon Mack?
Yeah, that happened just a few hours ago, right?
I heard that earlier.
I
I know the
see that.
Saints
I'm
are
just
signing
not seeing that.
Latavius Murray.
I saw that.
He's
To the
never had a
practice
really
squad,
good
though.
game.
He's on the practice squad.
Interesting. Continue.
Why do you have like a in that? Yeah, but I think this game. I think weeks on the second game of this, or like the second, because they understand eventually they play each other twice. The second rendition of this will be similar outcome. I think the Chargers look so good. Now I'm sounding like I'm bandwagoning, so I'm gonna stop talking before.
You are bandwagon.
Okay, yeah, whatever. But I like Justin Herbert. Whoever. Chargers. They're my Super Bowl pick, y'all. They are my Super Bowl pick.
I got Chargers making it to the Super Bowl.
Nah, honestly, I got the Bills and the Chargers. That's it right there. You heard it. You heard it here first. Bills and the Chargers.
Bro,
No, they can't. It's the same division.
Bro.
I'm
Come
sorry.
on, bro.
What? Right.
I have
Bill.
in the
Definitely
AFC,
not Chargers
in
over
the AFC
Bills.
championship game. Who I got in the wait? You said who I have over those two teams?
Yeah. Definitely not Chargers over Bills. Nowhere close.
You got to come back to me on that question.
Nowhere close.
Okay, that's harsh. I think it's close.
No.
Why not?
Because Bills is a better, stronger team than the Chargers.
I think both of these teams show that they're strong.
They run defense terrible.
Give me just out of
And
spite.
I guarantee
Because you're
Josh
speaking to
Allen
me,
throw-
I'm going to
and
go
I
to
guarantee
Chargers.
Josh
I'm going
Allen
Chargers.
throw
Out of
dots
spite.
on
I'm going to
defense.
Chargers. Well, look at this next game we're going to talk about. Great game. The Green Bay Packers played the Minnesota Vikings. If no one knows, Elijah is our residential Packers fan. Packers lost 23-7. Before you talk, Elijah, I'm going to say one thing. Last season, Saints blew out the Packers at home. And then they went on a killing spree after that. So I'm not going to say anything about the Packers. Who knows? Rodgers could probably produce another MVP season. But they don't have Devontae Adams, and their receivers are terrible. So I'll let you go. Huh?
And also, Alan Lazar is also hurt for this season.
It's your turn to talk. It's your team.
I don't have nothing else to say.
I watched half the game, aside from Justin Jefferson just piecing them up.
You killed them.
This was your typical first week.
Yeah.
Pooper from Mr. Rodgers, like when he got absolutely dog walked by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last season. So I don't really think there's much to say aside from him having fun with Zaire Alexander. Not Zaire Alexander. What is his name?
Smith.
Yes, Smith. Him.
That was
him
very
getting
funny.
knocked on his butt, but them laughing about it. That was real nice to see. It's
It
always fun to
was.
see former teammates getting back together.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that energy. Also, listen to this stat line: 9 receptions, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He has more than half of Kirk Cousins' yards. That's great. I mean, that's good. That's good. I should have picked him my first pick on the draft.
Split.
But
Here's what I'm going to say. Aaron Rodgers looked even worse than he did against the Saints last year. He picked up right where he left off against the 49ers in the playoffs, doing nothing on offense, and he had Devontae Adams last year. So take away Devontae Adams. He doesn't even have Alan Lazard. These rookie receivers look like they've never set foot on a football field before.
I think they're all scared.
Rodgers said that.
I think they're all scared, though.
Rodgers said that, and
Uh-oh.
people was bashing Rodgers for bashing his rookie wide receivers and other wide receiver court.
We told Davion. We told Davion
Davion.
that he was like the receivers aren't ready, and he was like, he's just being a mean old guy.
Exactly. Davion
whoa.
was saying, yes, you was. You was
So
bashing him.
here's the thing. I'm okay with him doing that. There's a way to do that. Going to the public, that's not the way to do that, in my opinion. That's just
That is
not
the way to do that.
Well,
He's obviously
just letting
telling
the
them in
public
private.
know.
But
if you don't if you don't like the way your receivers are, you pull them aside. Hey, you gotta clean this up. You can kill them behind closed doors. That's how a leader and a teammate does it.
But he's obviously he's a leader and a teammate, but he's also
He's not a
letting
leader for that
everybody
team.
know.
He's not a leader.
Yes, obviously he is. That is the
definitely a leader.
captain. That is the man of the
Right,
team.
he's the
He
captain.
owns that team as
He's
much
not a
as
good
he
leader.
owns the Chicago Bears.
He's not a good leader, is he?
Yeah, he is.
Whatever. That's a load of crap. You lose 23-7 in your home.
It's like you always bash
Whatever.
Rodgers. Like
I don't bash
I'm so
Rodgers.
convinced that
I've
you're such
said it
a
multiple
hater.
times.
You're a hater and a lover at the same time. You're like a
I've
friend
said
of
that
me.
Rodgers is one of the best throwers of the football of all time, point blank, period. But he is not a good leader on this
He is a
planet
good leader.
or any planet.
He is a
Whatever.
good leader.
He's not. He's just not. He's
Yes,
not.
he is.
NFC Championship game, not a good leader. They lost because of who? Rodgers. He didn't show up.
That doesn't change the leadership.
And he's not the
capabilities.
only cause
If
of
you-
that game.
okay,
Especially
so-
with
listen,
that.
there are
So when
ways-
That's what we find out
so when
special
Brady
teams
loses
coach.
to the Giants twice, is he a bad
What are
leader
you
then?
talking about?
What are you talking about,
So we're
dude?
comparing Brady and Rodgers here.
You don't correlate losing to leadership.
I
That doesn't.
understand that. But it's a
don't
way to
at
lose,
all.
though. It's a way to lose.
So
There are ways
So
to
you can
lose.
the only time you can quantify changing somebody's leadership status is if people come out of the locker room and be like, "Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that." They never said Jimmy G was a
No.
bad leader.
But listen, my point is there's a way to lose. You don't go out and say these dudes are terrible. What type of person is that?
Plenty
That's
of players have
the
said
truth.
it.
That's
Plenty
That's
of
something
players have
that's
said
something
it.
that you
Plenty of
But
players
they
have
not
said
the team.
this.
Listen,
But they not ready. He
You
proved
being
the
on the
point.
team.
Truth hurts, and that's the problem with people. People hate the truth.
I don't
They
mind
not
the
ready
truth.
at all.
Also,
You
David,
being on the
plenty
team.
of
Elijah.
this
Okay,
has
let's
happened
be
plenty
real.
of times. People have said that their teammates are not ready. This is not a
We
new
not
thing.
at
This is
all.
not a new concept. What are you stuck over it for?
Right.
Let's just move.
We
on.
not ready at all. We don't have. We still trying to
But
fix
it's obvious
on
you're
what
not
we
ready.
have since
There's,
Adam's leaving.
like I said, there's a way to say things, and he just says it wrong.
He just made it public. What is your problem with it?
Right. That's all he did was made it play public. You act like he just straight demolished them.
It's like
even if he
just
said it was trash,
It's like he called out
it's
names.
proven that they
It's
are
like
not
he called
ready.
out names. Like
Hey,
Exactly.
for no reason.
Hey, okay, let me say something real quick. If you're gonna call them out publicly, fine. But the thing you do first is you go and talk to them privately.
We don't
y'all
know
don't
if
know
he
he
did.
probably
We
did
cannot
that, though.
confirm
Y'all
if
Hell
he
no,
did
he
or
didn't.
did not.
He did
Y'all
not
don't
do
know
that.
that.
He did
Y'all
not.
don't
There's
You
no
know for a
way.
fact he did.
Nobody
And
knows.
plus,
He
he said it
probably
on the
did.
Pat McAfee
He
show.
probably said something before he even went on there and said something. He, like Oronde said, he didn't put names on them.
He
He
didn't
just
say-
said
Who
the
else is he-
receiving court
who else is he
was
talking about?
bad.
Who else is he talking about?
I'm about
Exactly.
to
There's
I'm
no
about to
one
go.
else.
I'm about to go find a clip just so you can shut the hell up.
Whatever. I'm gonna move on. We're gonna move
Please.
on. The Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. Buccaneers blew out the Cowboys because they're terrible. 19-3. Is this a display that the Cowboys suck or the Buccaneers are just good?
America's dumpster fire is what they are.
It's kind of both.
Jerry Jones left early in the game. He usually stays to watch. That's how you know they're bad.
He's terrible.
Cowboys, they are bad.
Cowboys
football
suck.
team.
It's both. Cowboys is still bad, and the Bucks is just still a pretty solid team.
Are they good enough to go to the Super Bowl again?
They have
In the
potential.
NFC,
They have
yeah.
potential. Yes.
I said no.
I say no as well.
I don't even think they made the
I don't
NFC
see-
Championship
I
game.
completely agree.
I don't know what can stop. I don't know who right now will stop the Bucks from winning the NFC. Because it's not going to be the Packers. It's not going to be the Rams.
So I want to say something real quick. I think these two teams are very interesting. I think Dallas is just bad. Point blank period, bad. The way that the Buccaneers blew them out didn't show that the Buccaneers were good. It just showed how bad Dallas was, in my opinion. And so the NFC is so like flat and boring that it's like there's not much competition. So like they can make the Bucks can make a run in the playoffs because of how bad the NFC is.
Mind you, Brady only threw the ball 27 times, so it was mostly a running game because Fournette had 127 yards and 21 carries.
Yeah.
And also a mean pancake block on Micah Parsons.
He murdered Micah Parsons. It was great.
And then Parsons was real mad on Twitter. And
Yeah, Parsons
Fournette replied with a crying Michael Jordan emoji.
And Trevon Diggs is another Ramsey. Trevor Diggs, or what's his name again? Trevon Diggs is another Jalen Ramsey, a bum. He might have the most interception, but he's not good. He get burnt all the time. So
who's been saying that?
You.
I have.
Okay, here's my biggest thing, especially about the Micah Parsons situation when he gets on Twitter, starts complaining. Number one, Micah Parsons, bro, you come off the blind side against quarterbacks every game. You're hitting guys blind side all the time.
Wait, before
you not get to come on Twitter and complain about getting hit on the blind side.
he literally sacked Tom Brady. He put power into Tom Brady back-to-back sacks.
Exactly.
Then that block came.
And then complains about Leonard Fournette hitting him.
He's a clown. Whatever, Micah.
And then
Whatever.
and then on top of the fact he ghosted Skip and Shannon. He's supposed to join every Tuesday.
Yeah, he didn't do it.
Ghosted Skip and Shannon.
He didn't do it.
He skipped it?
Yeah.
He a little kid for that.
Like that's so
childish.
unprofessional and clown-like.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen, Micah, Dallas don't look good, so you better figure out what y'all got to do before it's too late. And with Dak being out for the next 4 to 8 weeks, you better watch out. Because granted, I don't think Dak's going to come back looking good because he didn't look good before he was in. So,
He didn't.
I mean, you have to wait and see about that. But last game of the week, the Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks
The
won
game I've been waiting for.
17-16. Go
Because
ahead.
I still have that question.
Go ahead. You can let
I
you
want to
start.
ask it. I want everybody to talk. No, I'm gonna ask it after everybody talk about the game first.
I watched about like a half to just over 3/4 of the game on and off because I got dragged out shopping and my NFL app sucks at streaming stuff. But
Agreed.
Geno Smith, he got that dog in him.
You do.
He was tossing the rock. DK Metcalf got the ball. Lockett got the ball. What is his name? DJ Dallas was hitting people. Like, the Seahawks did their thing. It was loud. You could hear it. The 12th man was electric. And Nathaniel Hackett stupid.
I would like to
sums up
say
the game.
I would like to say disappointments on Baker and not really Russell. Russell had a good game, but I have this question that I want to ask y'all, so I'm not going to say nothing yet. So anybody else got to talk about the game?
Also, fumble on the goal line. That is hilarious. That's just Russell Wilson's luck at this point.
Yeah, that goal line, that red zone is not there for him.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because Geno Smith really surprised me. He played really well. He didn't get the yards, but you don't need the yards because, I mean, he got the touchdowns, and that's what matters more than anything. Russell Wilson got the yards, didn't really get the touchdowns. And I think as much as he wants to act like it doesn't bother him, I think all of the Seahawks fans booing him nonstop, I think that affected him more than he's going to let on.
Oh, it
Yeah.
definitely did.
It did. That bothered him because it's like, I gave y'all Super Bowl,
Exactly. That's the
and I was
difference.
still doing good with y'all. It's just
I kind of
he just-
expected like the Tom Brady treatment when he went back to New England. Like, he got cheers. Like, that's
Exactly.
I
his
did
home
too.
That just
team.
show you how fake and like I'm trying to find another word, like plastic they fans are.
Like,
Yeah.
he got
I
the-
mean,
this man is fraudulent
that's
for
messed
that.
up.
he got them the Super Bowl, and he did so much for the city. Like,
He definitely did.
Exactly. He did a lot.
That really messed him up. And I
Did
and I
Seahawks
definitely
even won a
think-
Super Bowl before?
No,
No.
not before him.
He gave them their first Super Bowl. So
I
for
mean,
him
He
to
holds
definitely
all
think-
their passing records, and
for him to get
he has the
booed,
record for the most wins, including playoffs in their first 10 seasons.
He's a Hall of Famer for them.
Yeah, he definitely is.
So that's just terrible for them to. They just plastic. Yeah, plastic fans.
I mean,
I don't
I think-
respect that.
I mean, like y'all said, like it messed with his psyche. They were loud, like Oronde. Like you could hear them through the TV, which hardly happens. But I really think like that messed with Wilson.
That
And
bothered
if
him.
they ever play again, he thinks he's gonna go off. But this game was just Wilson. Wilson was in his head, and they just weren't in their back. Their run game couldn't get going, and just didn't work out for them at all. But Elijah, your question now.
So everybody done now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was one of the questions. What did you think his fans got in his head? Well, Seahawks got in his head. Now, what I was hearing earlier, because I was hearing, like I said, I was listening to a radio and they was talking about the end of the game. Now, they were saying, do you think Russell should have been a leader and spoke up on that last second where that 4th and 5th? Do you think he should have played that, or he was right to just let the coach do what he do, or was he a leader or he wasn't a leader?
So there's 2 points. So there's 2 points to that. Point number one: new head coach. You don't know how he's going to act in these situations, so you got to let him control it. You don't want to push. You don't want to pry. You don't want to step on toes that you don't know. You don't know your limits yet. That's the first thing. The second thing: the coach came out today and said that if he could redo it, he would have let Russell take the ball and they would have went for it. He came out about an hour ago and said, or a couple hours ago, and said that he would have done it differently and they would have went for it on 4th and 5.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is you're the new quarterback on the team, new head coach. You don't know that dynamic yet.
Yeah.
And so you're not really in that position as a quarterback, even though you won a Super Bowl, even though you're a Hall of Famer at the end of the day, you're not in the position when the coach says, okay, we're going to kick it, to go up to the coach and be like, nah, put me in, I'm going to go for it.
If he would have done the thing that Harbaugh did with Lamar last year or the year prior, where he was like, you want to go for it? Lamar, you want to go for it?
Last year, like 3 times.
Yeah.
Just
That would have been, that probably would have been the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
can only judge Hackett for his decision making, which he has to learn. Like that's understandable because obviously his first year being a head coach. Just like when we spit roasted Brandon Staley for his questionable decision making late in games.
There was
Hackett
another
has
one I
to go
had for
through
you.
his
Matt LaFleur as
growing
well.
pains.
Matt LaFleur. Remember? Whenever Rodgers wanted to go for it, they wanted to go for it or something. And he just felt like he made a bad decision and costed them the game.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's one of those things with the rookie head coaches. They don't know how to get into that space of like, I have a Hall of Fame quarterback. Let them handle it. And so, I think that's what happened here. That's what happened.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like he should have let. But Russell should have spoke up and said something at least ask the coach. Like,
I mean, that's a hard situation to like.
But if you're the best quarterback and you come into a team to rebuild them and make them that Broncos team how they was, I feel like you should take that leadership you had with the Seahawks and bring it to the Broncos and show Broncos that you that quarterback.
But you're
going to produce and be how you was. And like, I was also hearing that like people was also trying to compare him to like Peyton Manning, and I was like, yeah, not yet. But they were saying that he should have took that leadership and ownership on like telling that coach like, let me take this and so we can win the game because they had 2 timeouts left.
It takes time.
So what they could have did was they could have just get that, or could have been a lose-lose, 50-50. But how Russell was playing, they was looking pretty good. So they could have got that. They could have completed that 4th and 5th, and all they had to do was call a timeout and take the field goal and win the game.
Listen,
you can't risk creating a rift between you and your head coach week 1. That's not a risk you can take. He's a brand new head coach. You're the new quarterback. You need to figure out the dynamic between the two of you before you start doing things like that.
I think in his mind, he's like, I want to go for this. In his mind, he's like, let's go for this. Let's do it. But it's but so much you can do at the quarterback position. Like you don't really know. You don't really know what the real is.
Quit it. Sorry.
No.
I think that's something that we forget a lot because of quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. At the end of the day, they're the quarterback. Yeah. They're not the quarterback and head coach.
Exactly.
Agree.
Okay.
But they could also take that leadership for the offense because they control the offense.
I understand that, but that's if you're asked. If you're asked, yes, you have control. But he wasn't asked. The head coach made the decision. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And so it's just
agree.
It's a matter of if he's ever asked. If he was asked if he wanted to go for it, he would have said yes.
Mm-hmm.
But so we've talked about all the games for the week. Now we're going to jump into predicting next week real quick. First game, Thursday Night Football. Chargers versus the Chiefs. Chiefs are at home.
Chiefs. That offense is scary, and they're at home. I see no issue with the Chiefs winning this game.
Arrowhead will be freaking turned.
Yeah, I think Chiefs as well.
I don't think it'll be like Cardinals blowout, but the Chiefs will win that.
I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be a close game. Chiefs win by 6.
I think at least 2 possessions. I say 2 possessions, thinking more touchdown than a field goal.
I'll throw due on that, but I don't know.
I'm giving Chiefs. I just wanted to hear what the Charger fan was going to say.
I'm not a Chargers fan. I told you, but I'm a New
Orleans. Exactly. Go ahead, Ronnie. What you said?
You rocking with the Chargers a little heavy, my dog.
I said the Chiefs. Miami versus the Ravens. Ravens are at home.
Ravens.
Miami.
You got a lot of faith to turn the ball over?
Give me the Ravens. I ain't rocking with Tua turn the ball over.
I'm not either, but I'm gonna say it. Miami. I'm not either, but Miami has my vote today. Browns versus the Jets. Do the Jets wake up?
Browns are finna run for 200 yards.
Nick Chubb was gonna run them down, and Kareem back too.
Let me go make a trade for one of them this week.
Don't to our deli.
I got Browns as well. Unanimous Browns. The Washington Commanders versus the Detroit Lions.
I got Lions.
I got Lions too.
Lions by 20.
Unfortunately, I don't never go for Lions, but I'm going for Lions.
I got Lions as well. 20. Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Who's home?
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Really?
If they want Matt Ryan to throw the ball 50 times again, yeah.
Just like New England and Miami.
Yeah.
The Colts don't win in Duval.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going with the Colts.
I want to go for the Colts, but
Buccaneers versus the Saints. Saints are at home.
Bucks. No, wait.
Bucks.
Because
Tom Brady does not beat the Saints in New Orleans.
Saints, I want to say Saints been beating the Bucks ever since Brady even got there. So, and I don't even think Brady. Oh, well, they beat y'all in the postseason, but regular season, I don't even think he beat y'all at all.
We're 4-0.
Yeah, so
I got the Saints.
You
I got
know,
my boys.
I'm
Right
gonna
at my
take,
boys.
I'm gonna take the Bucks purely because Alvin Kamara's he's dealing with a rib injury, and I don't think Jameis Winston is that good.
Listen, I don't think he's that good either, but I
And
still gonna say the same.
also, I think the whole they're 4-0 against him. I think Tom Brady, it's his last season. I hope, and he's probably gonna march in.
he
there,
want to get a win at least because he haven't beat y'all.
finish it
And
off.
then not even that. Saints. I want to say the Saints because Saints are actually pretty good when it comes to their division games. Like they beat pretty much Bucks, Falcons, and Panthers.
That's the thing. Most of their division games,
And that's how most of their wins. Yeah, I was about to say that's how they get most of their wins because of that. So
Don't say that.
it's true.
Oronde,
Bucks.
I'm gonna say Bucks too.
Yeah, they got to deal with Julio again now. So
That is true. So yeah,
yeah,
Bucks.
Julio had a good game against the Cowboys too.
He did.
he had a big play. Giants versus the Panthers.
Giants.
Give me the Panthers.
Give me the Panthers as well.
Giants, but if McCaffrey actually gets touches, then the Panthers.
Panthers if the refs don't forget how to rule.
Yeah.
Same with Saquon Barkley. You know, it might be a
man, I forgot
Barkley
about that.
versus CMC
Oh,
game,
No,
McCaffrey
yeah,
game.
you know what? Giants, because there's no run defense in Carolina. The Giants,
Exactly.
Saquon's gonna run all over them.
So
I mean,
It's-
the Browns ran all over them, but only won because of a rule.
I'm going Giants. No, I'm gonna go Giants. Yeah,
I'm sticking on my high horse.
I'm not.
Give me the Panthers. Quote me on it. We're gonna come back, and I'm gonna be embarrassed, but I'm sticking to it.
Panthers let me down last week. I'm never picking the Panthers again.
Panthers let me down too. They always let me. Every time I choose Panthers, they
I'm never-
always lose.
This is
They
like the Pat
always
McAfee
lose.
show because they don't bet on the Giants.
Oh man. Steelers versus the Patriots. Steelers are at home. Give me the Steelers.
Give me the Pats.
Steelers.
Give me the Patriots. Steelers. Mitch Trubisky ain't beating the Patriots.
Matt Jones out, right? No, you said it was back.
Matt Jones. Matt Jones will play. Matt Jones will
Yeah,
play.
back spasm.
I got Steelers. Falcons versus the Rams.
Rams.
They coming back on this.
Yeah.
They definitely got.
Uh,
They definitely got to show.
Good teams when they lose, they blow the next people out. I got the.
That's us. They got to
Rams.
show. They got to show that they probably upset about that
Actually, I
loss.
have
So
I'll take the Rams, but Atlanta covers.
What's the spread?
What's the spread?
I think it's 7 points.
You asking a lot out of Marcus Mariota, dude.
They don't cover.
Hold on, let me
Jalen
confirm,
Ramsey is gonna lock them down, right? Jalen Ramsey. You know.
now Rams got to prove
Wait.
something
Let me
on this.
make sure. Let me make sure. Give me a moment. Give me 1 moment. My Wi-Fi is being the slowest ever.
I have Spectrum trash.
Special trash.
Oh, Rams are 10.5 point favorites. Give me that spread. Give me the spread.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
Give me the spread.
Seattle Seahawks versus the 49ers at home. 49ers are at home.
Give me the Seahawks.
I'm about to say
I'm riding the Smith train.
I don't like 49ers, so bias me is going to say Seahawks.
Why?
But I just said bias me. But let me finish what I was going to say. 49ers, I don't know. I have to see because they played the Bears and like you said, it was raining. So, then they lost Elijah Mitchell. Trey Lance.
They have
I wanna
plenty of
see
running
how
backs. That'll be fun.
I want to see how Trey Lance will play against the Seahawks. Now, if 49ers win,
Can it
then,
not rain? If it doesn't rain, give me. Nah. Hold on. Let me check the weather.
But
If it doesn't
You said it's
rain,
in
give me.
Seattle,
Huh?
or is it in San Fran?
It's in San Francisco.
Because what I'm about to say is Seahawks have potential on being a little
It's
decent.
a division game as well.
But like I was saying, like Seahawks have potential this season to be pretty better than last year. I want to say.
I agree with that.
Is
statement.
it an
So-
early window game?
405.
Give me the Niners. It's fair weather.
Give
Yeah,
me
I
the
got-
Niners as well.
I like Geno Smith, but I got Trey Lance in the Niners.
I'll take the Niners. Yeah.
Elijah's breaking up, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You frozen.
That's a funny face to be frozen on.
That is
That is
a
a funny
funny
face.
face.
Everybody screenshot this and send it to him. That'll be hilarious. Yeah, next game until we wait for him to come back. Because I think he's gonna go with the Seahawks. But the Bengals versus the Cowboys.
Bengals.
Give me the Bengals. Easy.
Bengals as well.
I know.
He went
He
away.
won.
I'm guessing. Should we just wait for him? I could just throw an ad in here while we wait. Yeah. If you made it to this part of the video, please be sure to leave a comment, comment, and subscribe. We love looking at your comments and reading them. They always make me laugh, especially the mean ones. Those are the funny ones. Those are
I'm
so
not
good.
gonna lie. If they made it this far in the video, find some hobbies. It's been like 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Whoa. Maybe no.
Find some
Just
hobbies
keep
where you
watching.
can listen to things while you do it.
Elijah's back. Elijah.
Go on a run. Get outside.
Elijah.
I already did my
Hello?
grass touching for the day. My cats are being buttholes right now.
Elijah, you okay?
No, my whole power just went out.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Who do you got? The Bengals or the Cowboys? And did you have Seattle or the
I said
49ers?
Seahawks.
Okay,
So is that the next game y'all just talking about?
Bengals, Cowboys, yeah.
Bengals. Cowboys, no, trash.
Broncos versus the Texans.
Give me the Broncos.
I got Broncos winning.
No, just to be different, give me the Texans.
Yeah, I was gonna match
Wait,
that, Lillian.
What's the
I'm going
home?
with
What's the
Texans.
home game? Who's the home team?
Broncos are home. Actually, give me the Broncos.
Broncos at home. I'll keep the Broncos there.
I'm gonna
Russell played good. Once again, Russell played. He had a good game, but it's just like I was talking about new coach. I think he should have took that though. But I'm giving the Bills.
Cardinals versus the Raiders.
Cardinals.
Give me the Cardinals.
What? Raiders.
I'm giving Raiders. Right, Raiders. We're gonna
Raiders
match
are
that. We definitely going to match that. I don't
What'd
think
you
about
say,
a
Oronde?
blowout, but Raiders. You know he went for the Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Yeah, you know he went with
What's wrong with him and the Cardinals? He tripping for real. Bears
right. He
and
got
the
so much
Packers.
faith in now.
Bears and the Packers.
I'm not.
Sunday
saying
Night Football.
nothing.
Here we go.
Bears.
Big stage.
The Bears are winning.
I'm not going to disagree with her. I don't
I'm going
know.
with the Packers. I'm going with the Packers.
I'm going to go with the Packers because they're my team at the end of the day. But
Though it might be about
I
that
don't
game, give me the
disagree.
Bears.
Bears might win.
Yeah.
Bears
Give me
might
the
win.
Bears. Give me the Bears.
But I'm going to go Packers.
I'm gonna go Packers as well. Monday Night Football. There's 2 games on Monday night.
Yes, there is.
Mhm.
Me and Elijah was arguing with somebody.
Who we had that argument with? And
We're
they
gonna
were saying
publicly
that it's only 2
apologize
Monday
for
Night
saying.
Football
I'm gonna
games. Yeah.
publicly
Who's
apologize
that?
for saying that.
Who was that?
Might have been Jermichael.
Jermichael said it, and everybody got on his case about that.
Yeah, we're sorry,
yeah,
Jermichael.
We apologize.
We're sorry.
Yeah.
The Bills versus the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Bills.
Bills.
Who's it again?
Bills and the
Bills
Titans.
and Titans.
Bills, of course. Bills. Yeah.
And then the Vikings and the Eagles to close out Monday night.
Ooh. Vikings.
I'm gonna say Eagles.
I'm gonna go Eagles as well.
I'm gonna go Vikings because that's a better defense.
Give me the Vikings.
All right. Well, if you made it this far, thank you for listening to our 2-hour long episode of the post game. This is gonna be this for the next couple of weeks until the bye weeks come up.
It's always gonna be 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Always.
But we appreciate you for listening if you made it this far. Yeah. This is Lillian, Oronde, Elijah. Thank y'all for joining as well. My name is Davion. I've been your host, and this has been the post game. Peace.
Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget.